You know, no, what the thing about, sorry, what is sad about this one, because it could have been a very fun film. It could have been, like a bit fun B movie though, but no. So the next one of the next Steven Seagal, which Against the Dark. Which, funny thing is, though, he's on the cover, his name, and the tagline is, "He lives by the sword, they will die by it." Funny thing is, he's barely in the movie. Maybe at most 10, maybe 12 max at most. From what I remember. So, yeah, for jeez. Wonder if you heard that. Someone just set up a firework again. Have you heard that big boom sound? Maybe that was a warning shot. Maybe it was just telling me not to review this movie anymore, or stop reviewing all these Steven Seagal movies anymore. So they're just trying to give me a warning shot. If you stop reviewing these Steven Seagal movies, we'll actually do it for real. You know, there's your warning shot. Boom, blow you up. Nah, really. I just feel like I just want to throw this. I just really want to throw this right now, but I can't. I really do. Because Steven Seagal, like I said, he's barely in the movie. And the thing is, this could have been a fun B movie because they say it's vampires though, but mostly they act like there's zombies in the movie. They say vampires, but they act like there's zombies. And I think that I think they were making a zombie film, but make it as zombies. But I think Steven Seagal changed it to vampires because he doesn't like the word zombies. Why, I have no idea. Because that's what they are. They're basically acting like zombies. Despite they say that it's like vampires right here though, but they're like basically like zombies or infected, like the ones you see in 28 Days Later. But I'll just call them zombies because that's what they mostly look like. And there's another sad thing about this film because Steven Seagal has this group he has some people that's with him. There's these two women, which funny thing is they don't say a word of dialogue in this movie, really enough. Funny thing is like there's one woman right here, and there's another one that's with him. They have no dialogue in this movie. And a guy that's also with them is actually really enough Tanoai Reed. Actually, really enough, he's actually Dwayne Johnson's cousin. Yeah, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, his cousin, and he also does his cousin's stunt double. So yeah, so Tanoai Reed is a stunt double for his cousin Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I'm like, okay. And you got Linden Ashby, Johnny Cage himself from Mortal Kombat. And on top of that, Keith David is in this. Which I say, Goliath from Gargoyles. And also, he starred with Steven Seagal in Marked for Death. Wasted, you know? And Keith David, like I said, he's been in a lot of other films I enjoy. I like Keith David. From John Carpenter's The Thing as Child, my all-time favorite horror film. John Carpenter's They Live. He was in Volcano. I like Keith David a lot. And he started Steven Seagal in Marked for Death back in 1990. It's sad, you know? And this film was cheap looking too. Because it had the idea of this could have been cool. Okay, a bunch of basically zombies. They say vampires, but I will say zombies because that's what they look like. In this, and you also go with a group of survivors in this hospital, right, trying to survive. And also, funny thing is, in the beginning of this film, it's so stupid. It just reminded me of the text in Attack Force. You know, in Attack Force, where it just shows, Paris. In Europe, whatever I said. I'm like, yeah, thanks for telling me the France is in Europe and all that stuff. I forgot that's that kind of text. Like, we're too stupid to figure out where Paris is in France or France is in Europe, right? Here they say, oh, in text they give us a definition of what infected means. As if we're too stupid to figure out what the word infected means. Ay vey, man, stop. Do you think we're that stupid to figure out what the meaning of the word infected means? But they gotta put us in text the definition of it. And the thing is, though, another problem is, though, like Steven Seagal, all he does when he does show up, when he kills some vampire zombies, all he does is this, the same. It's like the same shot of him, just like him standing here doing this, and he also has a shotgun with him as well, but he just shoots a couple of them as well. But he's really sprinkled in throughout the movie. He's not the star of the movie, even though he's on the cover. This film was so aggravating because it had, like I said, it had potential. It's the same thing with Submerged. You know, it could have been like John Carpenter's The Thing on a submarine, but no, Steven Seagal didn't want that because he's an asshole. Or Attack Force, where it could have been dealt like with aliens and stuff like, right? No, he doesn't want to do it with aliens. It's like the guy doesn't want to do any creature feature horror related stuff, right? Here you can say it's kind of like he does that, but he's barely in the freaking movie. And if it was just being lazy or being a dickhead like as usual, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the reason why he was barely in the movie. Like I said, for the paycheck, hey, I have my face on the front cover, I'm the star of it, even though I'm barely in the movie. It's such a waste of, once again, a waste of potential. You know, it's just a group of survivors. Just be simple, you know. Just have a group of survivors amongst this zombie-infected hospital, trying to survive, trying to get out, right? Could have been simple. And Steven Seagal, he's a sword master. Have him lead this group of survivors to safety and the way out. You know, with his sword and a shotgun. It could have just been simple, but no, it's not. Instead, we get the survivors who are a bunch of nobodies who I do not know about and I don't care about. Amongst them, you have this couple. You have a kid, a guy who's a druggie, a person who has is like a religious guy, has faith, right? Or a woman who has like basically no faith at all. Same thing, always thinking all hope is lost. And then the separate group with Steven Seagal, you have the two women with no dialogue, and then Dwayne Johnson's cousin, and they're their own separate group. So, and then Linden, Ashby, and Keith, they're just put on the back burner. Sad to say. But yeah, all the bunch of these nobodies, and for the good part of the movie, it's 94 minutes. It just felt so boring, and a lot of times the nobody survivors who I don't care about at all. They're just walking around corridor after corridor, which kind of looks like the same. It does kind of look like this, like it's a cheap row, so it kind of looks like the same corridor they've been walking down with. Maybe from a different perspective or a different angle, or whatever. But all looks pretty much the same the same corridor they've been walking down with. Well, except for one, because there was this hallway where it's a bunch of a bunch of hanging bodies and guts falling out, or whatever. Okay, that's a cool practical effects, This hallway of death, like all these bodies hanging upside down, bloody, guts hanging out. Okay, that's nice to see. Some good practical stuff. A hallway of death kind of reminds me from Deep Rising, with that hallway of death, all those bloodied up skeletons in that hallway. Kind of reminds me of that from Deep Rising, but thing is though, Deep Rising is criminally underrated and is a personal favorite of mine, and I love Deep Rising, Yeah, like I said, the CG doesn't hold up. That's the only gripe I have with the movie, is the CG on the creatures. That's it. Even from 1998, it still doesn't help, but I love Deep Rising. That all those good effects of that hallway of death, of all those skeletons, and bloody skeletons. And just a better cast and great score by Jerry Goldsmith, and well directed by Steven Sommers, who later go on to direct The Mummy, and I love Deep Rising. It's so highly underrated. It's, like I said, it's a personal favorite of mine. And Treat Williams, now what? Yeah, but I just rather watch Deep Rising. In fact, I'd rather watch Deep Rising than watch any more of these Seagal movies. But I've just had to keep pushing through. But I just said I mentioned Deep Rising because like that hallway of death, that practical looking hallway of death, just reminds me when I saw this with the hanging bodies, that hallway of death. But other than that, though, the rest of the building, the hospital, is just like the same people. People are just walking through the same hallway, the same corner, or whatever, and just cheap, because I think because this is low budget, of course. And and once in a while we cut to Seagal, who kills some zombies, vampires, but I'm saying zombies because that's what they mostly look like. Then Dwayne Johnson's cousin, he gets a scuffle, and he does do some stuff okay. Like he does stuff with a grenade and with the grenades, blow some stuff up. Gets in a fight with some of the infected. Okay, at least he's doing stuff. And then you get this bad habit with people. Back with the survivors, they get this really bad habit with people splitting up all the time. Why don't you just stay together? Better to stay together than splitting up. That way, they don't go run all over the place and just more disaster occurs. Why, like, even with a fight, they just freaking run away from the fight. I mean, I think just time that you just stop splitting them and start staying together. Why? And just, and then the druggy guy, he gets killed, and then there's the one. What was the dialogue that Steven Seagal said? Because he's saying it to absolutely nobody. He's like he's by himself. He's pretty much like talking to himself. It's like, it doesn't matter like who lives or dies or something like that. But you'll die first. I forget, but whatever the case was, he was just talking. He was saying it to nobody. Like nobody was around him. I'm like, who are you saying this to? What dialogue are you saying this to? You're not saying it to any of your people that are your group that's around you. So, and he also does not only with same stuff with his sword though, but he does shoot some with a shotgun. He does that. Oh God. I am very aggravated though, but I'm not so over top on this because like I did it on Attack Force. But things like this had potential. It could have been, hey, Steven Seagal in a B horror film, just taking out vampires, not making them like zombies, but actual vampires, and. But no, he just has this thing with not doing stuff that's horror related, Even though this is supposed to be like an action horror film, but. Like with Submerged, or Attack Force, him fighting with the freaking directors and all the time, treating everybody like shit, But he's just doing it for the paycheck. Hey, my face is on here. That's all I care about, right? It's good for good buyers, And then the because the druggie that gets killed, the woman who basically has said all hope is lost, no faith at all, she gets bit, and one of the couple, I think it's the guy that dies, and the woman, she survives, the kid survives. And then eventually, the two women that are with no dialogue that's with Seagal, they die. One gets bit, one dies instantly. So, but with the one who gets bit, Seagal has to kill her. And the guy who has the faith, he gets tied down by, I think it was the scientist, whoever who has him tied down, and Seagal shoots him. I think for the Seagal shoots him with a shotgun, and the guy who was tied down. There was this guy here. He gets freed, and he survives. And then, just killing some more zombies, and then one point it leads to another. But at the end, they get out, and the building blows up, which it feels like it was stock footage they used, because when it blows up, it looks kind of off to me. So I assume they used stock footage from another movie. Perhaps it was a movie I've seen before, but I forget though. I'm sure someone in the comments will let me know what footage they use that from. But yeah, and then so the survivors is the kid, the woman of the couple, the faith guy, and Steven Seagal and Dwayne Johnson's cousin. And and then once in a while it cuts back with Linden, Ashby, and Keith David, and listen, they're just putting the back burner. They're just so wasted in this. I mean, I like Keith David. He's a good actor. I enjoy him. Like I said, from John Carpenter's Thing, and then They Live, Volcano, and I like his voice as Goliath from Gargoyles. I love Gargoyles. We are Gargoyles. And he was fun in Volcano, and he was wasted in this, Plus, it's sad because him and Seagal were together in Marked for Death, and I reviewed Marked for Death when I started this whole marathon, And Linden Ashby, I liked him as Johnny Cage in the first Mortal Kombat. He's wasted in this too. At least Tanoai Reed, Dwayne Johnson's cousin and / stunt double for him. At least he did stuff, And like I said, Steven Seagal, he's barely in the movie. He's like sprinkled throughout the movie, say about 10, 12 minutes at most. And it was such a waste of potential. I mean, we just with zombies and stuff. Like, I'd rather watch Battle of the Dan with Dolph Lundgren. Yeah, it was like cheap looking though, but it was like fun. We get zombies, you had robots, and Dolph Lundgren's fighting, and I like Battle of the Dam. Yeah, it was issues, it was being a little cheap though, but at least it had, Dolph Lundgren like fighting with robots and zombies and stuff, Like I said, Dolph Lundgren, he's done better than Seagal, as I've mentioned before. Even Van Damme, he's done better than Seagal. Although I would kind of like to see Van Damme would do this type of movie, Take Seagal out of it and then just put him in this movie. Maybe I will like the movie more though, but. And also, there was like an article I found recently. It was about Van Damme versus Seagal. As a fact, let me look it up right now, just for the title. It was an article, yeah. Van Damme versus Seagal, the fight of the century that began at Stallone's party, but it was never filmed. So I guess Van Damme and Seagal were at Sylvester Stallone's house, and they had a beef. I mean, that's why Seagal thinks he's better than Van Damme. Yeah. Yeah, okay, let's see here. It was back in 1991, yeah. But yeah, I'm sorry, but Van Damme, he could beat the crap out of Seagal. I mean, Seagal, as I mentioned before about Seagal's ego, I think he's better than these guys. I mean, like I said, no, Van Damme can beat you easily. Like I said, you can just go back on my past videos. How many times I've complained about how big Seagal's ego is, right? Just go back past all my previous videos. I mentioned it a lot of times. But just getting back with this film. Like I said, I really want to throw this right now because it's not a mega rant though. It's a rant though, but I just really want to throw it because, like I said, it was such a waste of a good potential idea. You know, Steven Seagal fighting vampires. And this, with a, like I said, you could have him with a group of survivors trying to get out of this hospital. These infected people. You can say either you can say zombies or vampires. Whatever the two, you take your pick, right? But no, they couldn't do that. That could have been an easy story, but they couldn't do that though. So they just waste the whole idea. And Seagal is barely in the movie. Instead, we get this bunch of these people, a bunch of nobodies, which I don't care about at all. And some good noble actors, like I said, Keith David and Linden Ashby. They're wasted in this. Seagal, like I said, he's barely in the movie. No, any of these characters I don't care about. The kind of the best thing is that whole the whole hallway of death of the hanging bodies with the guts all hanging out. Good practical effects, you know. And by the end of the movie, when the hospital blows up, you know, I'm sure they used stock footage from another movie. I wanted to mention that Keith David, who was a military guy, they said after that they wanted to cleanse the place. I'm like, the place is blown up. Probably everything is dead there. So why you want to cleanse it? But yeah, Against the Dark. You know, just if there was any behind the scenes that if Seagal was the reason why you know fighting, you know, make him change certain things, I would not be surprised. I would not put it past that he would be the cause of this, because he's a producer and he's a producer on all of his movies, on all of his direct-to-video films. He's producer on all of them. But yeah, I mean, Tanoai Reed, Dwayne Johnson's cousin / double for his cousin, he did the best he could. I mean, I'll give him that. He did the best he could. I mean, I like Keith David and I like Linden Ashby, but they're wasted in it. They're just put on the back burner. And I already said about what I said about Seagal, you know. Cool idea, but it was wasted. It could have been a better movie. Like I said, I'd rather see Dolph Lundgren in this type of movie, or I'd rather see Van Damme in this type of movie. Or even Michael J. White or Scott Adkins. Or Donnie Yen, or what? Well, he wouldn't do a film like this though. But I would find to see Donnie Yen, to see kick some zombie ass or vampire ass. Oh, which reminds me, there was a sci-fi film called I Am Omega. It was like a ripoff of I Am Legend, right, with Will Smith. But that starred Mark Dacascos, and Mark Dacascos fighting zombies with a nunchucks. That was really cool to watch. Put one of those major actors on a movie like this, you know, take Seagal out of this and put either one of those actors in this movie, I think would have been better. And don't make them like zombies, make them actual vampires, like from Dusk Till Dawn or whatever. If you want to go with zombies, make them actual zombies. But they're fast. They're fast. So you could say it was like 20 days later. But yeah. Such a disappointing. I think it is such a disappointment, like with Submerge, you know, like that could have been a good horror film, but no. Even Attack Force could have been a good sci-fi film with with aliens stuff doing with Seagal, but no. So I wouldn't be surprised if Seagal was a cause of behind the scenes of this movie. I would not be surprised at all. But yeah, just like I said, I don't want to throw because I don't want to make too much noise though, but. Waste of freaking potential, you know, just a big letdown. But yeah, that's Against the Dark. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next review / episode review and much more. You'll see you next time. If you haven't seen any of these movies, the recent ones, just feel free to check them out. It's just, you know, I'm not making this stuff up, you know. Like my previous review with Kill Switch and this, I dare you to give these a watch, especially this one. How what a letdown this was. But thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video, and we'll see you next time. Fuck Seagal, you know. And also, the thing is, one last thing. I like Urban Justice. I like Pistol Whipped. You know, what I just did recently, two reviews back to back. Then we go back to the shitter with Kill Switch, and then this movie. You know. I would just rather watch Urban Justice or Pistol Whip. I even watched Into the Sun, which another one I like. Yeah, so 3 of all the ones, like the 20 ones I reviewed, that's not good odds. It's like not even a handful. I'd rather watch those movies instead. But the rest of the movies are at least like 99%. They've all been shit. Kill Switch was shit, but this was even much more disappointing. But anyway, thanks for watching, and see you on the next video. Later.